So I went to PAX East 2020. I only went for Friday. A friend of mine, whose name is Charles, invited me to go along with him. I decided to take him up on that offer. And it was interesting because the last time I went to PAX was the very first year they did PAX on the East Coast. Originally, they only were on the West Coast, excuse me, and then they decided to open it on the East Coast and go from there. And at that point, it was a very small convention from what I remember, and I don't think there was a lot of big companies that were there. There were some indies, and there were some like people like just trying to show off what they could make, etc. But I was only there honestly for Mega 64 and just to get a picture with them, to sign some posters, and get the con exclusive Blu-ray at the time. But since then, I didn't really explore the exhibit floor at that period of time, and then I never really got back to PAX. This time around, I was very interested in going because I was more interested in what was on the show floor other than Mega 64, and I was there with my friends, so it was going to be something that was going to be at least fun compared to my first time going there. I was kind of like very close-minded with what I was doing there. So we go there, and obviously I dropped by the Mega 64 booth first because I wanted to get the Rider Con exclusive t-shirt. Now, this is a shirt that's a variant of the purple sweater I always wear. It's the one with the biker chick on the front. That's I think they call that like the Rider sweatshirt. And I love that design. It's drawn by Muriel Cartwright, Kanuko on Twitter. She did Indivisible, Skull Girls, the Scott Pilgrim game, etc. I mean, I just love her work all the time. I mean, I have all her sketchbooks. So I was like really excited to get the t-shirt and to get more of her shirt designs at the con that were only exclusive for cons. Like they had the Nightmare hoodie and then the Dreamer Con Elite shirt, which is a different version of the one I have. The one I have is a Black Friday variant, and this is one for just for cons. So I was really excited to get that and bring it home because I really love her t-shirt designs. Like they're just so cool and cute. I love the shirt designs, so I was really excited to get those at the Mega 64 booth. I also got to meet Rocco, Derek, Garrett, and Kevin. Sean, I don't think was there this year, and then I also got to see Meg. I got to see Frank and Audrey. Well, I saw Frank and Audrey roaming the exhibit hall. I didn't get a chance to say hello to them. By the time I noticed that they were there, they were like way like on the other side of the hall. So I was like, sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose some. It's fine. But I saw them though. But I got pictures with Derek, Garrett, and Kevin. I did not get a chance to get a picture of all of them with Rocco because every day, every time I was walking by their booth, I was trying to see if they were all at the booth to ask them, and they were never really all there at once. So I just decided to take it with Derek and Garrett and Kevin. I did have one with the four original members of Mega 64, but that was like the first year of PAX. So this time it was just only like half of the crew, which is just as good. I mean, I like getting the pictures anyway. They're very nice and they're very approachable. Like there were just times where I get to sit there and talk to them about some games that I saw at the show floor and all this kind of stuff. They were very cool and very approachable, and that's really what I like about Mega 64. Like they've gotten really big and they've done a lot of stuff since the early years when they started doing this as a job, and they still have that feel of like, yeah, they're still like genuine and modest with what they're doing. I really like what they've done. They always take the time to talk to you and listen to you. Like I was just when I was buying the shirt, I was talking to Rocco about like, oh, it's a shame that I can't make it to the panel, but it's really great to see you guys here, and it was great to see you at the last laugh, etc., etc. It was a really fun moment to talk to them again. It was really nice because I talked to them a little bit the first time I met them. But other than that, it was always like either on like the stream chat room, etc. But they've always been like responsive to people, even in the chat rooms, even on like their Rocco's Tumblr page when he takes questions, etc. Like they're always approachable, which I really like. It's really nice seeing that more and more. And that's the rest of the con as well. I mean, everyone there was like really nice to talk to. So after that, me and my friend Charles, we walked over to the Platinum Games booth, which I didn't even know they were gonna have a booth this year. They were demoing Wonderful 101 on the Switch because, as we all know, it's coming out in May, I think. And I really wanted to play the demo because I wanted to see, was the game as good as I remember? What's the deal with this game? and it was really good. I really love how the gameplay feels and how fluid it is. And the one thing when I played it on the Wii U that I didn't really like, and I kind of just dropped it, was I thought the tablet was very cumbersome, and I just didn't like it because you could either, I think you could also like tap on the screen to do attacks, because you have to draw like the gun to get the gun item out. You would have to draw like a circle to get the fist. You have to draw a straight line for the sword, and you can either press A for the attack, or you could just kind of tap on the screen to do it as well. And I just didn't like that. I just thought that was very cumbersome, and I just wasn't a fan of using it. And I'm sure some people are gonna love the tablet gameplay of the original Wonderful 101. But this was really nice. Like, I think the right analog stick doing a lot of the gestures works fairly well. Like, I didn't sit there and like struggling to get something out. Like, it was pretty responsive. There was like only one time that I was trying to get the gun out and it wouldn't give me the gun, but that was like very few and far between. Like, it wasn't like as often as you would think it would happen. But it was still a nice game. It still like functioned very well. It was very fluid and smooth. I really enjoyed it. I really can't wait for that game. Like, it was a very like stylized game, and I just loved it. So I can't wait for that game to come out. So I got a poster from that booth. It was a really cool poster, but it's just, I think it's just the box art on just a bigger piece of paper. But it was still nice that they give you a free poster for playing the demo. I asked the people there, is Kamiya like on the show floor, or like what's the deal? And they were saying, well, Kamiya's like walking around the convention hall, so you might see him, you might not, whatever. So I was like, okay, I doubt I'm gonna see him, because I mean, if he's wandering the show floor, I mean, what's the chances? So I was like, okay, whatever. I'll just go to the next booth I wanted to go to. So me and Charles went to play Streets of Rage 4. And the trailer already sold me on that game, so I was like, kind of like, whatever. But I decided to play it anyway, just to see how the co-op would be, just because it was there. And actually, the line was really short for that game, which is kind of crazy. But we got there, and oh my god, that game is so fucking good. I'm dying for that game to come out. The art style is great, the music's fantastic, the gameplay was, it was so good. Like, it actually had, like, very good feedback to what you were doing, and, the one thing that I always had an issue with beat 'em ups is that sometimes it's very hard to align yourself with the enemy, and I feel like this game had a very easy way to, like, line it up, and it felt fair about it, too. Like, it just didn't feel like, oh, you're just a pixel off, so you didn't hit him, and it's like, so it did a good job giving you like the hits that you think that you got, because I mean you don't have to be like aligned perfectly to attack them, but it was a very nice game. It was very fun, very fast, and I think that they gave you a lot of health when you need it. The other thing is that I don't know if the demo was on easy so that people could get through it, so no one's like stalling the line. I don't know if they made it easy for that or what, but it was still like fairly challenging. All that said, because I mean, there were times where me and Charles would get overwhelmed by enemies, but we still like powered through that and got through. It was a really fun time we were getting through that game, and it was just like I was just sitting there thinking to myself, when this game drops, I really hope that it has crossplay, because I would love to play with other people on Streets of Rage, or if it's Mac compatible, I mean that'd be nice too, because Charles only has a PC. Mr. Mac over here, I don't know if I could even do that, but I have a PS4 and it's coming to Switch as well, so it's a really good game. I'm keeping that on my radar. I really loved what I played. The combat was really cool. I played as I don't remember the names, but the woman who has the electricity with like the big earrings and all that stuff. She was so cool. I really loved comboing her electric projectile attacks with her melee attacks. I really loved playing that character. The whole game looks so good, and it was amazing. Like, it has 2-player online co-op and 4-player local, which is decent. I would have loved to have both have 4-player online co-op, but it's fine for what it is. I really loved it. I really can't wait for that game to come out, and we still don't have a release date. It says it's coming out spring 2020, and we're entering March and we don't have a release date. Like, I'm dying to play that game. After that, me and Charles tried this other game. I can't remember the name of it, but it was like some co-op game you could do, co-op or single player. It's like this. You play as a magical character. You go through portals and you fight off waves. It was okay. It was an okay game. It just didn't really leave a lasting impression. because the combat was very floaty and it was just kind of there. Like it wasn't really anything that I loved in that demo. It was good, but it was just I don't know if it's gonna like really wow me when the game comes out when that game comes out or what. It just looked okay, so I can't really say I loved that game fully, but it was fun for what it was. So that one is fine. So after that, Charles and I decided to split up and do our own stuff at the convention hall and meet back up for lunch and go from there. So after that, I swung by this booth that was demoing The Pathless, which was a game I knew what it looked like because there was trailers of it last year. It was supposed to come out 2019. The game got delayed to sometime this year. Uh, I gotta say, I really don't know the point of this game because the demo just drops you off in this world. They give you the controls, so I knew how to play it, but I didn't know why I was doing the things I was doing. I didn't know if there was a point. I just like some of the stuff I didn't understand what I was doing because they just let you go and they don't tell you anything other than how to play the game. So like you would go in this world that has these points of interest that you can find by pressing triangle, which highlights secrets in that world. So you kind of go to certain areas that are highlighted, and along the way you'll see these little like floating targets in the sky. Now you don't have to aim; you could just press R2 and it will just aim for you and fire. Um, they want you to keep moving and have it be a fast-paced kind of game, so it works, because the more times you hit those bullseyes, you gain more momentum as you go, which is really fun. Like the feedback, the feeling of that game is really good. I really loved how it felt, and it was very fluid and fast. Like that stuff, I really enjoyed. I loved the bond between the character and the hawk. That was like really cool. You get to pet the hawk and like bond with it a little bit, all that kind of stuff. I really liked that part of it. The only thing I just didn't understand what I was doing or why I was doing some of the things that we're doing. Because once you get to one of the points of interest, it would be like a platformer or a puzzle kind of thing. Like it would just leave you to decide like how to do this or something, which is nice and fine. But I just don't know why I'm doing it. Do I have to do this? Like what if I just don't do it? I just didn't understand what I was doing or the point of the game. And I can kind of understand that that might be the point. Like the game is called The Pathless and it's just you on a pathless journey. But I would like to have some kind of objective or something to tell me what I'm doing. I know it's like a minimalist kind of game, but I just feel like it doesn't give you enough to care about what you're doing. Like Journey, the thing I liked about Journey was that I knew what I was doing. Like they didn't tell you what I was doing exactly, but you were going on a path that was kind of, it was kind of linear, but the way you go through each area was unique and fun, and you would kind of get stuff through the context of the game. But this, I just didn't understand what I was doing, why I was doing it, and it was just kind of empty. So I liked the style of the game. I liked how it looked. I liked the gameplay of it. I just don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. So I don't know if I'll be getting this game day one. I'm like interested in it, but I'm just I was way into it when it was announced, and now after playing it, it's like I don't know if I'm that interested anymore. I really would have to see the game being played before I see it. That's kind of the kind of game I think it'd be important to see the beginning of the game on YouTube and see how it opens up because the demo just kind of drops you off and they don't give you anything to do or any understanding of why you're doing the things you're doing. It just drops you off and you do stuff, which can be fun, but I just don't know why I'm doing it, and it just kind of I don't know. It just didn't really connect to me as much as I really wished it did. I did like the style of it. I like the character design of it, but it just seemed like it was an aimless game that just doesn't have a point, and I'm not entirely in love with with those kind of with those kind of games. I like minimal games. I like artsy games, but this was just kind of like I don't know what I'm doing or why I'm doing it. Like when I was playing the demo, I was like nervous the whole time, saying I don't know what the fuck I'm doing in this game. Like, am I supposed to be going over there? Am I supposed to be going over there? Like there's no objective that I can kind of discern or any reason or know why I'm doing some things I'm doing. Like there was no reward for some of the stuff I was doing. Like there were some areas that was very easy to solve, and when I solved it, I just didn't understand why I was doing that. It's like, oh, the only thing I can kind of guess is that there's areas that are infected by some bad energy or something, and you're kind of purifying that area with your arrow, with your bow and arrow. But that still wasn't that clear. It's like you kind of deduct that, but you don't get anything for it other than goes from red to blue. Like I don't know. Like I need to know more about this game before I really like commit to it. But it's all right. I think once the game comes out, it might be interesting to see what it is. But I don't know. I was a little turned off a little bit by that demo, just being confused and not knowing exactly what to do. The one thing I liked though that I loved about that demo was, uh, I was going around doing stuff, and then the screen changed color. It became black and red, and that was really cool. Like it was a very like intense moment, and the game was like, "Don't move in the light." And I was like, "Oh shit!" And this big monster was like patrolling around me, and I was like kind of going in between his eyesight so he doesn't see me, going between the light and the darkness, try to get my bird because you knocked your bird out, so you gotta revive the bird. You leave the area and you kind of cure the bird of what happened, and that was like cool. Like I liked that moment, but I just didn't understand what triggered it. Is it just a random encounter? Like, is this gonna be something that's gonna happen in the game? Like, I don't know if the point of the demo was just so that you could understand the gameplay, or if this is the game. I don't know, and I would like to know more about this game when it comes out. So I'll keep an eye out on it, but I'm just not as excited as I was when I saw the trailer for it. Now that it's just kind of confusing to me. But that's the Pathless. It's made by the same developers who did Abzu. I never played Abzu, so I don't know if it's gonna be similar to that game or anything. But it has a cool design to Pathless. I like the look of it, but I just don't understand what I'm supposed to be doing in that game. They did have Great Blue Fantasy. I was gonna wait in line for that, but then I realized I'm getting the game when it comes out, so I was like, I don't need to really be here. So I left and I moved on to Animal Crossing. This was a game I've only played the GameCube version, so I was very curious to see would I like the Switch version, would I get back into Animal Crossing because of this, like what was the deal with this game? So one of the things I will say about Nintendo is that they did a really good job handling the line. It looked really long, like it looked like that you were gonna be there for like hours and hours, but it was actually like it. They moved it along pretty fast. They would have you sit through like a presentation by these two guys who were playing Pokemon, and then they were playing Animal Crossing as well. It was kind of fun. It was kind of fun seeing them talk about the game and this and that. They gave away some stuff as well. Okay, a little story time with this. So I'm waiting in line, just sitting through this, and they wanted the crowd to chant Nintendo and all this other stuff, so that just drum up hype pretty much. So we were doing that. This woman behind me was so loud. It was like she put her like mouth to my ear and says Nintendo, and I was just like, whoa. And then like the guys were just egging on the crowd, and they're like, okay, this side was pretty loud. This side cared. This side, they were quiet. They didn't care at all. And the side that didn't care at all was my side. So the woman behind me was like, "What are you talking about? I have been yelling!" And I was just like, relax, because obviously this whole thing is like a little like show that they're putting on. So I mean, they probably just didn't care. They were just like doing whatever. So this girl was really invested in what was going on, and they're like, okay, well, we're gonna give away a Tom Nook plushie, and I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. So I was like, also getting into it because I wanted that Tom Nook plushie, god damn it. But they didn't give it to me, they gave it to someone else. They threw it on the other side of the fucking room, and I was like, okay, whatever. The one behind me was crying about it. She was like, oh my god, I was here, I was counting, what? Ah, just yelling. And then they pull out the big guns, the one that everyone wants, the Isabelle plushie. Now, I want that fucking plushie. I wanted it because, like, I have another friend that I visited over New Year's that keeps telling me how much he fucking hates Isabelle and all this other stuff, and I was like, Oh, you're gonna hate Isabel? Okay. So, I was dying to get this fucking plushie. Dying to get it! But I didn't get it. They gave it to some other random person, and I was like, like yelling Nintendo and everything. Ignored me. Go gives it to the person in the other line. Okay, get this. So there's two lines, right? There's the shop line, so people who are gonna buy stuff, they're there just to buy stuff. We're here for the demo. They give the fucking plushie to the people in the line to buy shit. I'm sorry, Nintendo. I'm already in a fucking line. I don't want to leave this line to go to the other line to get something that should have been free for the line that's not getting anything. But anyways, I didn't get it. The woman behind me was in a worse state than I was. She was just really sad and upset. It was like a lot of bad stuff happened to her apparently during that line, specifically that line. But whatever. You don't win them all. I said, you know. So they do that. Whatever. After that whole presentation, the line moved really fast. So they did a good job, kind of like, giving you a reason to wait in that line to see this show and all that kind of stuff. And then once that was done, it really moved really fast. So we got the demo stations of Animal Crossing, and I was a little bummed. I was hoping for it to be a single player demo because I just wanted to see what the game was and just kind of experience it on my own. But it was a multiplayer demo, which is good. I mean, I liked playing with other people, but I just didn't know what I was doing. So the demo, the way that it's set up, the way the multiplayer is set up, I don't know if it's the same for online, but we did this locally. Uh, you would have to assign one person to be the leader. So one person could go into buildings, talk to the other villagers, etc., while you just follow along. You can't really do a lot as a follower other than you could dig and fish and stuff, but you can't like interact with anyone else. Which I hope isn't the case online because I think, online you should be able to like shop and do all that kind of stuff. Because locally I could kind of understand it, but I still think it's a little lame that you have to be the leader to shop and all that. Like that stuff's a little bit that stuff's kind of basic stuff that people want to do for themselves, and having them to switch leaders to do that is ridiculous. Like I understand that like yeah, one person should dictate where you go in terms of like what buildings you enter. That's fine, but interacting with other villagers that should be everyone's role. But that's like a small little thing about the multiplayer that I didn't really care for. So we were doing that. They had us all be the leader in turn. So the person who was before me had us go to town hall. We saw Isabel there. We saw Tom Nook there. We hanged out with them. We did all kinds of stuff with them. And then, we did some other stuff as well. We walked around. We went inside a house. It was pretty cool. And then they made me the leader, and they're like, "What do you want to do?" And I was like, I don't know. I haven't played Animal Crossing since the GameCube game, so I don't know how much they've added to the interactions with the villagers. And I thought like interacting with the villagers would be boring. Like everyone wanted to go to the shop and all that kind of stuff. I was like, I don't know. Why would you want to go to the shop? I don't know, because to me it's like the shop is like you could understand what the shop is. Like I wanted to just experience the game and just do random stuff. So when they made me the leader, I was like, I just want to fish. Let's do this and that. I just didn't know what else I was doing. Because I know like Animal Crossing gives you some objective stuff, like you could kind of talk to villagers and do stuff for them. So I didn't know if we could do that in the demo or not, like, so I just didn't understand, like, what could I do in the demo that's not going to take too much time, because I just didn't want to do something that was going to screw someone else over and taking turns with the leader stuff. So we fished, then we went to the museum in the game. The museum was pretty cool. I did like the museum. You got to see the fossils, the fish. The fish was really cool. I like that. You could donate that kind of stuff to people as well, to the museum, excuse me. So that was kind of cool. And then we shifted the leader from me to someone else, and we just went to the shop and clothing stores and all that kind of stuff. So it was cool. I liked what I played in Animal Crossing. It was better than what I thought going in, because I really wanted to play it to see if I was gonna get the game when it came out. I wasn't sure. It's like, should I get this game to get back into Animal Crossing? I don't know, because the other Animal Crossing game I did play, but it was very little, was the DS game, and that one really bored me, and I kind of just stopped playing. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna get this game, but after playing it, the online was kind of cool. I like the multiplayer of it, so I might do it. It's more of a consideration than it was before I play the demo, so I'm still thinking about it. It's cool. I think if you like Animal Crossing, you would like the game, obviously. The multiplayer was pretty cool. I like that, and now that's online, and Nintendo slightly gets online a little bit better than they did on the Wii, etc. It might be cool just to go to other people's villages. So I'm interested in what's going on with that game. So we'll see what happens when it comes out. I might just get it later. I don't know if I'll get it day one. I don't know. I don't know yet. I'll think about it. Because that game might also be fun just to stream as well. But I'm not sure. We'll see when that game comes out. So that was Animal Crossing. It was pretty cool. They had a whole like photo section of the booth. I take a picture with KK Slider. I wanted to get a picture with Tom Nook, but he fucking walked away. The moment I crossed the bridge to see him, they just like led him away, and I was like, I just got here. I want to take a picture with Tom Nook, and they walked him away. So I don't know what happened to him. He was gone. They took him away. It wasn't like they moved him to another part of that photography area. They just took him out of the fucking booth entirely. I mean, I guess it was just his break time, but I was like, Tom, come on, come in. But Tom Nook walked off. Couldn't get a picture with him. But whatever. So after that, I moved on to this other game because I wanted to try. As I was waiting for Pathless, there was a game next to that booth that looked really cool. It was a black and white game. It was a side scroller that looked really cool, and I wanted to check it out. That game is called Liberated. It's coming to Switch. It's coming to PC. They said that they might put it on PS4 and Xbox. They're thinking about it. They don't want to say anything just yet, but it's coming to Switch and PC. That game fucking rules. Like, the style of it is so cool. It's black and white. It's a noir comic book kind of style. So the story's told in comic book panels, and it's done, and it's hand drawn art. It looks so cool. Yeah, there's no voice acting, but you read the word bubbles. It's really cool. But what really sold it to me, which is like a silly detail, was when you're going about this game. It's side scroller, so you move around. You're unequipped. You don't have any guns just yet. You walk around, you see an enemy. You have to move the right analog stick for him to like unload his gun, and it feels so cool. Like it feels like that you're in the like. It's such a nice little detail, like because like you just move the right analog stick, like, and it's like oh shit, and you can hold it too, so you could be walking around like you're some badass. You aim it that way, then you just fire. You aim. It's so cool. It's like. That little detail was so nice, and then when you shoot the gun, you see the comic book text of bang, 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 pow, pow, pow. I was like, holy shit, this is so cool! I love this style! And they have these little hacking mini games, and the hacking mini game is really cool because I thought I would hate it because you don't get the codes. The game doesn't tell you what to put in. They don't give you any hints or anything. The only thing they tell you is here's a set of numbers. There's not gonna be any repeat numbers. Like you're not gonna do 1 1 or whatever, but they can tell you if it's the right number in the right place, if it's the right number but in the wrong place, or is this an incorrect number entirely? So off of those three hints, you can kind of try different codes. And I was sitting there thinking, I'm gonna be here for a long time trying to figure this out because I'm not gonna understand it. I don't know what numbers to pick. I mean, I'm terrible at guessing. So I was playing it and I was like, okay, whatever. I tried it and it was really intuitive. I liked it more than I thought I would because it didn't feel like I was wasting my time and it kind of felt fun trying to figure it out. So it was really cool. And the guy was telling me when I was waiting in line is that these codes are randomly generated. So you can't just go to like Google and find all these codes because it will just generate random numbers. So I really like that. I like that detail that they try to make the hacking a little bit more realistic and a little bit more like I think he told me that it's kind of like Minesweeper, which I never played. I might have seen it in like an old PC and then I never really cared about it, but it's like that and I was like, "Oh, okay." And I played it. Was really cool. I really loved that little mini game, that little hacking mini game. Uh, they gave you two chapters to go through because they're very short. I think they might have taken some stuff out, but it was a really cool kind of game. I'm definitely looking forward to that game. It's coming out early part of 2020, so I am definitely looking out for that game. It looks so good. The guy did not want to tell me the price or the exact release date, obviously, but he said that the length of the game is roughly 6 hours, 6 to 9 hours. I'm just hyped for that game. It looked so cool. It has a cool story. It's like a cyberpunk noir game that's about a totalitarian. I'm sorry I'm mispronouncing, but it's like that kind of world, and you're like a resistance group trying to fight against it, and it was really cool. I really loved it. But during that time, I was on the last part of the demo, near the end. I get a text message from Charles. He told me, Theo, Kamiya's by the Wonderful 101 booth. And I was like, what? And I was sitting there like playing, and I was like I was torn between just like dropping the controller and just running, but I was like I don't want to be rude to the people there because they actually worked on the game. So I was like, okay, I just have to get through the last part of the demo. I just gotta beat it, and I kept dying because I was rushing, and I was like, oh my god, I need to beat this because I was afraid by the time I would beat the demo, he would leave. So I was like trying to get through the demo as fast as I can. Uh, so I beat the demo. I finally got past the last part, and then I put the controller down, put the headphones down, and I just booked it to Platinum Games booth. Saw the guy, saw Kamiya, and I was just like, after that I was like, I don't know, did I talk to him? Like, and the thing is, like, I've never like felt this kind of way about anyone in a long fucking time. Because like, when I first met Mega 64, I was like talking to them, I was having a good time with them, whatever. I didn't feel like, oh man, oh. I didn't feel that way when I was around them. But with him, I was just like, because the other thing was that he was like looking at other people play Wonderful 101, and I just didn't want to take his attention away from that because I think, it's kind of important that he would want to see other people play his game. So I was just like, I don't know, oh my god, so. And so I was just kind of like hanging out with my friend because he was still playing Wonderful 101, just watching him, and I was like, yeah, man, it's pretty cool. And this and that. He finished it, he got his free poster, and we saw Camille just chilling, like right behind us, and I was just like, Charles, should I ask him if we could take a photo with him? Like, I don't know. Like it was just like, so like he was talking to someone, and I was just kind of, just kind of standing there, just like. Yeah, like looking between like what's going on. I was like, oh my god, it was so weird. And then I asked him, can I take a picture with him? Like, and they're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. So we were standing next to him. He was wearing a mask. We posed for a photo. They took a picture. Then he told us like, oh wait, I had a mask on. So he takes the mask off. We take the picture again, and he was so cool. Like he was so nice about it. It wasn't like, you know, not that he would be like a jerk about it, but I would just think that he would just be like, oh, well, we're gonna do an autograph at this time or at the panel. You gotta do this because they had pins at the booth, and I was like asking them like, oh, can I get the pins here? And they're like, well, you have to come to the panel to really get the pins. And I was like, oh, so that was kind of a bummer, but so I just thought that they would just kind of say like, oh, you gotta do it when you gotta come to the panel or whatever, but. We took the picture with him. It was really cool. Like I didn't have any markers because I wasn't expecting Kamiya to fucking be there. And when I went there, I knew Mega 64 would have like pens to sign stuff as well, so I didn't really feel pressure to bring anything. But now it's like, fuck, I have to be prepared now if I go to PAX again because that was insane. He was honestly the last person I thought I would ever fucking see because like. I just thought Platinum would just kind of focus on, like, just, TGS and E3, these other, like, conventions, not fucking PAX. And I remember, like Charles was telling me that he got to see Suda51, and I was like, what? And that also, like, I was mad at him about that, because Suda51 is so cool, too. But I was so happy I got to see Kamiya, and he was such a nice guy, really, really liked him. He was actually more approachable than I thought he would be, actually. I thought, oh man, it was so cool. It was really nice, and that really, like, blew me away that I got to see him. I was so happy I went there. I was so happy about that. So after we got our picture with him, we went to explore the exhibit hall a little bit more, and we walked by the PC Indies section, and they had Postal 4. Now, Charles was saying like, wait, there's a fourth Postal? What happened? Whatever. So we talked to the developers about it, and they're like, yeah, well, there was a Postal 3, but don't download it, don't buy it. It's like you're getting AIDS with that. And I was just like, in my mind, it's like he actually described like the third game of his franchise as AIDS. I was like, what? But he was explaining that at that time when they were doing Postal 3, um, there was a lot of issues with it because they gave it to a Russian developer during that time, and then the economy went to shit both here and in Russia, so they couldn't really afford to keep going with that game. So they got all these other random people to finish it, and it just became like a shitty game. So he was saying that Postal 4 is going to be a game that they're going to try to revitalize Postal with it. Uh, I know I asked them, it might be a dumb question, honestly, that, is this going to be on PS4 or anything? Like, is it just going to be on PC? He said that, he told me that it's going to pretty much be on PC only. He would love to put on other stuff, but there's a lot of hurdles that you have to go through to get the game on that platform, so it's probably not going to be likely. Which is a shame because what I saw that they demoed, it looked really good. Like it looked kind of funny, it looked kind of cool to play, but uh, yeah, it's not. I don't think it's gonna come to console. It's just gonna be a PC thing. So it was cool. Like if it's playable on Mac, I'd play it. But it looked nice. It looked like a cool little game. So if you're a fan of Postal, check out Postal 4. It looked good. There were like people playing that game on every booth they had available for that. So it looked kind of cool, and the developers were pretty nice too. They were kind of open and very kind to talk to. So it was nice to see it. After that, we walked by this other booth. I don't remember the booth name, but the game I played was called Evolutus. That game fucking rules as well. That is one of my favorite games I played because it's all hand-drawn animation. It looks like heavy metal, that kind of animation. It was so brutal. I loved it. Like, it starts off, the demo at least, it starts off with you sitting, like, on the street, just sitting on the bench, eating, or just sitting there. And then you get up, you get side, you can only move left or right. So I was walking around, and at first I was like, what the fuck am I doing? And then I was like, oh, you go through an alley. I was like, oh, okay, going through an alley. All right, let's go through the alley. We go through the alley. We go into the deeper alley. And then it goes this little mini animation, this little mini cutscene of this guy like trying to steal your bicycle, your bike, your motorcycle. Oh my god! And then it's like, all right, and then you aim your gun, and then you just shoot him, and then it just kind of you board the motorcycle, you drive. It's very stylistic, and it looks so cool. I loved it. And then we go to this other location. I was walking by, I see this nightclub, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna talk to this guy. And the guy's like, what do you want? Whatever. So they give you three options. I was like, I'm here for my jacket. And he's like, sure you are. What are you really here? And they give you another set of questions. I ask him another question. He lets me in. I walk through. A guy jumps me in the game, and you have to kind of like fight him off. He kind of pins you against the wall with his axe. You fucking turn it around on him, and then you just kind of beat his head by pressing Y back to back to back. And you try to get, like, you just beat him with it mercilessly. It was, like, fucking insane, and it was so cool. And then, like, you finish off just by, like, slicing his head through. And then, like, you just go through these each, like, one-by-one fight scenes. It was so rad. I really loved the style of the game. I liked how it looked, how it played. I am so invested with what this game is. I don't know when it's coming out. I tried looking up this game. I think it's in a pre-alpha state. So I don't know. I know it's coming to PS4 and maybe Switch as well. Check it out. It was fucking amazing. I loved that game. It was so cool. It was so cool. Like, I've never, like, that game and Liberated were probably one of my two favorite games I played at PAX other than Streets of Rage 4. I really love those. Those three games were honestly the games I loved the most. Like, out of all the games I played, like, Wonderful 101 was really good. I love that game. Like, I played games I wanted to play, wanted to see, and then the games I didn't even know existed were amazing. So don't sleep on Evolutus or Liberated. Those two games look so good. I'm really excited to see what Liberated is, and the guy was telling me when I was talking to him about it was that the game got delayed, a few times, and I was like, hey, you know what? It's fine. I've always like prefer a game to be delayed more and more if it's warranted, and from the sound of that way he's describing it, like he was like genuinely bummed that it was delayed, but it was like he had to, and that to me, when you see a developer like just say like it was supposed to come out here and it's like we delayed it a few times like it just it's amazing like it felt more genuine than these like these generic like little posts on Twitter that they make like, oh, we're sorry to announce that we decided to delay the game because it wasn't like to the standards that we were happy with. It didn't feel like that because when I was talking to him, he just seemed like really bummed that it got delayed. But I was like, hey, it this game looks rad. I'm willing to wait because the game was so cool. Like I really do think that this game's amazing. Like these games I played were so good. I loved them all. The only booths I was a little bummed with was Devolver, and Devolver I was kind of disappointed with this year, or this past year, because at E3 2019 they didn't really have any games there that I was like interested in. Like they showed Ape Out, and Ape Out was good. I liked it, but I loved Hello Miami a lot more, and same with like Mother Russia Bleeds. I think Ruiner was them too. My friend Pedro, whatever. But like 2019, it was just like, okay, we have this game called Carry On, and you're like this little monster that goes through a lab and all this stuff, and that looked cool, but it was just like I don't care about this monster thing. Like what I liked about Hollow Miami is that it was like a character you could relate to. I don't relate to this blob monster, and it's just kind of there to be there. So I was a little bummed out with their booth. They had a thing called Discon as well, and that looked kind of lame too. I was really bummed out with what they showed. The only thing I liked about Devolver's booth was that it had a cool store, cool store there. I got the Hollow Miami vinyl, which was really nice. It was like a limited edition print, so they're not printing these again. So I was like, I gotta get this. This is really cool. I got that. The vinyls were really nice. The only thing I was a little bummed was that it didn't come with a download code for these songs. You could probably buy them separately, or you could just buy them on Steam, because I know Steam has the soundtrack for both Hotline Miami, but I don't think Steam lets you take the music and puts it in your iTunes library. I don't know if I'm wrong. Please let me know if you could do that. If I could take my Steam music, like soundtrack stuff, and put it on iTunes. I don't know. Um, I don't know. I don't know. But if I'm wrong, if it's easier, like if it's like, hey, you buy the soundtrack on Steam, you just go straight to our iTunes. I don't know, whatever. Please let me know if I'm wrong, because I don't fucking know, and I don't want to like pour money into a soundtrack and then just end up not having. I don't know. But anyways, I got that. I also got the physical copy of The Messenger. Everyone was telling me that The Messenger was a really good game and I should try it out. And I was like, yeah, I don't know, whatever, because I didn't really care for the visuals of it. Like it just looked like any other like side scrolling. Like Katana Zero was a lot better. I liked that game a lot. But then I saw that the Messenger physical that was like a really cool box. So I was like, okay, I gotta get this. This looks really rad. It's like done in the same design as those NES boxes for their games. And I was like, I gotta get it. Fuck it, this looks so cool. So I got it, and it was really rad. Like the game is really good. I love the game. It's really fun. So I'm glad I bought the game at that booth. But other than that, I didn't care for what else they had there. We also played this one game, Charles and I. Uh, it was some like magical kind of game. You play as two characters. You fight off waves of enemies. It wasn't really that amazing. Like it didn't really stick to me. The combat was very floaty, so I didn't like that at all. Like it wasn't bad, but it just wasn't really connecting with me. It's just like, yeah, maybe if it's on sale I'd get it, but it's not a game that I would dump time into or money into. So, that was fine. I don't know, I really don't remember the game's name, but it was alright. Uh And then Charles played this one game. I don't remember the name of it, but I'm gonna be honest. I think this game is gonna have a hard time uh, doing well or anything because the visuals of it. The person who had the booth was literally just. It looked like a copy of Cuphead. It just looked like Cuphead. Like they took the same like body type of Cuphead, replaced the head from a cup to a circular head that was like in a scuba helmet, pretty much, with those like cartoonish eyes from the 1920s or whatever, and they have like the big hand glove thing. It looked so much like Cuphead, and I just sit there and like saying to myself, dude, when they're gonna show trailers of this and when they're gonna try to convince people to buy it, they're probably gonna get a lot of this looks like Cuphead. Wow, this is like a ripoff. And I feel like that's gonna be something that they're going to fight with because despite the game looking like Cuphead, like I just a direct copy of that game, the game does have a different combat system. It's a turn-based type of game where it's like Pokemon. You have these little monsters. You have to refill the world with color, pretty much, and you have to match the. So you have these enemies that fire attacks. You have to build up a meter on the enemy to stun them, and then when they're stunned, they're gonna have little icons above their heads, and you have to match the icon with the attack that corresponds with it. And if you get all three symbols in a row in the enemy, they'll convert to your team. And that's like an interesting mechanic, but the game just it's gonna have to fight so much like this is a ripoff of Cuphead. Why should anyone care about this? And it's just a shame because they have this interesting idea with the combat, but it's just gonna be fighting this claim of that they're just riding the success of Cuphead and they're trying to like kind of get that same lore. Now the thing is that this game is still in development. They said this was like a very early build of the game, and usually a lot of games at that point do change styles over time. So I can only hope that when the game gets closer and closer to release, they're gonna change the style because I really don't think this is good that people are gonna see this and say it looks like Cuphead. The poster had this enemy that was doing this. That like fucking Cuphead poster. Like it looks like the Cuphead enemy, like the devil. Like he was like there like this, and it was like a different head. And it's just like this is gonna have to change in the final game because there's no way, no way. I don't think anyone's gonna look at this game and give a shit about it because they're just gonna think it's some kind of small team trying to win people over with Cuphead. And the only thing I could think of is that maybe what they're trying to do with this is catch that attention of people who loved Cuphead to give their game a chance, but I just don't think people are gonna do that. They're probably gonna be like, this is Cuphead, and they're gonna write it off and never check it. I don't know. I mean that's a cynical way of looking at it, but I really don't think this game is gonna get a lot of attention because of that, and it's kind of sad because I think the combat is it is interesting with the meat with the color mechanics and how you can win the enemy over with matching symbols and all that. But it was just kind of like you're gonna be thinking through that game. This is Cuphead. They compared it to Wind Waker, which I was like, that's kind of a loose comparison. Yeah, they're sailing, but like it doesn't look like it's going to be that big of a role because the islands you go to are so close together that it just doesn't seem like you're going to be doing any exploration with it. I don't know. I mean, maybe when they finish the game, it's going to be different, but I still think that it looking like Cuphead is gonna hurt that game if they don't do anything else with the style that's gonna push it. I think they just need to push the game a little bit more visually. It just doesn't look that captivating. Like there's like the cutscenes they showed in the trailer that they were playing on loop. The cutscenes looked nice. Like the animation they were showing, like it looked very clean and interesting. But it's just gonna draw a lot of Cuphead comparisons, and I just think that might hurt the game a little bit. Um, but the demo I think was a little too convoluted, to be honest, because I was watching Charles play it, and he wasn't sure what he was doing in some of the combat situations. Like he was doing all these attacks, and the combat was never ending. like he eventually realized that, oh, I have to build up this these shapes, and give them the corresponding shape and all that. But the game doesn't explain that to you very well. It's not bad, but it's like very rough. But it's a very early build, so I think by the time maybe a little bit when it gets closer to release, it's going to be ironed out. So we'll see. But I'm just telling you, I really don't think this game is going to do anything for anyone. It did, when I looked at it, I just kind of didn't care. Like the moment it looked like Cuphead, I kind of wrote it off, and the cover was nice, but it didn't win me over. So I don't know. I mean, maybe it's gonna change, but I'm not caring about this game. I don't even know. I don't remember the name. It's like the only thing I know is that it had Billy in the title. Uh, then we walked by the big behemoth, and I was curious about the new Alien Hominid game. And I didn't get a chance to play it, but my friend Charles did, and I saw some gameplay of it when I was there too. I watched other people play it. It looks okay. It's not like the original Alien Hominid, which is, depending on who you ask, it might be a little disappointing. But the way that he told me about it was the game gives you objectives to do. Like, oh, you're in this level, you got to find the informant and kill him or whatever. You get the information, etc. And they'll give you these little objectives to do in each level. And that's not exactly what Alien Hominid is, to my understanding. I played it like one time, but some of the stuff isn't in that game either. Like Alien Hominid, you can bite people's heads off, you can do all that kind of stuff. This game, there's combat and shit, but you can't bite people's heads off. But that also might be pertaining to certain characters, maybe, because there is I saw like a character roster almost for that game. So I don't know. I don't know about Alien Hominid Invasion. It looks okay, but I don't know if it's gonna live up to what people liked about the original. So it looked okay, but it wasn't anything that I was like too interested in. I was more interested in the Castle Crashers remaster than I was with this, and Battle Block Theater. That looked cool too. So uh, that's fine with me. I'm curious to see if they're gonna do more stuff with Battle Block Theater in the future, but it is what it is. Uh, so I think that's really all I saw. There was like a lot of booths there that were kind of cool. Like they had a lot of stuff there that was nice, but I saw what I wanted to see. I played what I wanted to play. So far, the games of the show, my top three, Streets of Rage 4, Evolutus, and Liberated. Those are the three games I'm like really excited for. Wonderful 101 is a honorable mention. It's a game that was already released, but those three, I think it's gonna be so fucking fun when it comes out. I can't wait. I'm gonna watch them. I'm gonna keep an eye on Liberated and Evolutus. Evolutus looks really cool, so I'm excited for these games. So that's it for my PAX uh, video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you liked it. And I'll at see you in the next video. If not, that's your decision. But if you want to support me, you guys know how to do it. You guys are smart. It's in the description below. You know what to do. Oh, actually, I want to tell you one quick story. I'm going to turn the light a little bit. It's a little weird. But anyways, a little story here. So, as I was playing Liberated, I sneezed. I had something in my nose, so I was like, I sneezed. This person that was like next to me, not even like close to me, but like the other booth, the other table they had, gave me the dirtiest look. She was just the most disgusted look, like. And the thing is that, like, I get it. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh my god, these people. I get it. The coronavirus is going around. It's spreading. It's taking people out. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that there's nothing to worry about. I get it. But the thing that I thought was just funny was that I covered my face. Like I was like sneezing like this, like you normally do. Like you should. You should always cover your mouth and your nose when you sneeze. And it was only one sneeze. I was like, it was, and then I moved on. And she was looking at me as if like I ran up to her and like sneezed in her mouth or something. I mean, as I said, I get it. I get the paranoia and the fear, but I'm gonna tell you, if I were, I probably wouldn't go to PAX if I had anything. Just saying, because I wouldn't want to catch anything and I wouldn't want to give it to anyone. But uh, that was just a little funny thing to me. I was like, it because because I understand it, but it was just like I wasn't anywhere near her. Like even if I didn't like cover my face, she still wouldn't have caught anything because I wasn't. Nothing was. It wouldn't reach. Like any projectile I would have wouldn't reach her. Like if she was like right next to me, like arm's distance, uh, yeah, she could. She probably would have gotten something, but you know. But I covered my face and everything. Bleh. But I get the fear, but I just thought it was a little funny. But that's it. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a fun time. Please check out those games I mentioned. Those games looked really good. Liberated in particular looks really good. Evolutus looks fun, so please check those games out when they come out. They look really good, and I had a blast playing them. Check it out, and after this trip, I think I want to go again to PAX East next year, so that'll be another fun time. But for now, that is it for PAX East. I will see you guys next time, and remember, guys, to love yourself every day.